Hi everyone, this is Brett Hancock. I think I'm going to start a new series. I just saw something here that I thought was significant, and I think it would be a great series to start on the channel here, where I found this passage, Mark 9:37, and as soon as I saw this word that's used, we're looking, here's some Greek or English translations, King James, ESV, NIV, and they're all real similar in how they read in English. Whoever or whosoever shall receive one of such children in my name receiveth me, and whosoever shall receive me receiveth not me, but him that sent me. Or ESV, more modern English, but very similar approach as the King James. Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but him who sent me. So you can see the word receive is used 4 times. So that's the focus of this video, and I'm going to start a playlist. I'm going to start putting different passages for people to see the benefits, the things that you can see in Greek that you can't see in English translations. So when you look at this, despite the fact I've used different colors, they look the same, other than the fact shall receive versus receive, shall receive versus receive, receives, 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 the ESV, welcomes. Yeah, receives in the sense of welcoming. That's fine. Yeah. So I just thought I would start with some popular translations, and then let's go look at the Greek. Let's see some differences here. Yeah. So I think I got a pen here. I can use it. So yeah, this is significant. This particle is going to go together with the subjunctive that we're going to take a look here. Now, this is the aorist subjunctive. Okay, and that's going to be a little different. And let's see, let's go down here. We got another occurrence, receives, and another one, and then another one. Okay. So what we notice here is, first of all, I'll do it in English here. What we see here is we have the orange and the pink is a couple, kind of like a couple yoke fellow there. So we've got basically the protosis and the apodosis is how you'd say it in the Greek, or protosis or apodosis, I think someone might say in English. But it's kind of a if-then sort of cause and effect. If this happens, then this sort of thing that we have in English, right? So here's one. Okay, then we got a second one, right? We got 2 different ones. We got 1, we got 2, right? So we got receive here used here, and then we got receive here, receive here, receive here. Just like receive, 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 receive. Now the way they rendered it in the King James is shall receive versus receive, receive, right? Here, welcome, 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 4 times. So looking in the Greek, I want you to be able to see some distinctions here, see some things you can't see in the English. And this is the whole point of this series I'm starting, is so that you can see, hey, wow, there is some benefits to learning English, or learning New Testament Greek, that when I read things in English, when I read the English translations, I just can't get that. And it's, yeah, the languages don't fold up together exactly perfectly. And so there is a lot of reason why we should learn Greek. So some people will say, hey, not everybody needs to learn Greek. I'm not going to say everybody needs to learn Greek, but I don't know, if you really want to know better your New Testament, and really understand better what the Holy Spirit inspired the writers to say, what the writers said, what they meant, it's not going to be like a complete, everything is not tied up in the language. Setting translations aside for a second, 2 people speaking in English or speaking in Russian or speaking in any language, it doesn't matter, and they both are native speakers and they've been understanding each other forever. A lot of times the person that is having that is listening to the other person has to ask questions, because they're like, in their mind, it happens like in split seconds, they know that what they just said could be understood different ways. So they're thinking, well, wait a minute, did you mean this when you said that, or did you mean that? Or maybe you meant this. What did you mean by that? And so this ability to be able to go back, question, answer. Well, we can't do that with our Bibles, right? Translators can't do that either, right? They go in, they read the translations, and sometimes different words have multiple definitions, and they do their best. They look at the context and they try to make judgment calls to decide, what what the original writer was saying. And so by learning the biblical languages, you can make those decisions yourself rather than somebody shielding you for you don't even have that knowledge. You don't even know. So I'm showing you one example of that now. I'm going to put this in a playlist and start a series of passages where you can see the benefits like this. So anyway, so first we start out with the subjunctive, which is the mood. So we got tense, we got mood, and we got voice. So we're not going to talk about voice, but tense, we got present tense and aorist is what we're going to be using today. And the subjunctive or the indicative. In this case, it's the subjunctive. So this is the protasis, and down here in its associated apodosis is the indicative mood. So we got the present tense and the indicative mood. And so the idea of this, in terms of what's called aspect, you got indicative. This is like an ongoing sort of thing. It's happening in the present tense, and it's from the speaker's point of view. The indicative is conveying the idea from the speaker's point of view or from the writer's point of view. It's factual, right? This thing is definitely happening, right? But up here, when we talk about the subjunctive, together with this particle up here, on, they work together, something that might happen, something that may happen, right? And because it's in the aorist tense, not the present tense, but the aorist tense, it's something that is kind of like a one-time occurrence. It's a really short-timed event. It's not like this ongoing sort of thing. Like, for instance, if you were talking about, hey, come over for lunch today, right? Just today, not every day. I'm not saying, hey, come over lunch every day. I'm not going to feed you every day, right? So if somebody was saying that to their Greek friend, right, they would, just today, they would use the aorist, in the imperative mood, which we're not using the imperative mood. We're only using the subjunctive mood and the indicative mood today. But maybe they would use the imperative, prostaktike is how you'd say it in Greek. And so the imperative mood, you would convey for them to come and do this, but you're saying it in the aorist because you just it's just you would even throw in the words today, like, so that he knows, right? But between the verb itself and the aorist tense, and the imperative together with the fact that you're saying today, or you say like at noon, at lunchtime, or whatever, but it's conveyed really clear that it's a one-time event, right? Whereas maybe you're telling your friend, hey, you want him to come over daily. Let's say you're working together, right? He's actually working for you, so you're going to feed him every day. And so you would use the present tense with the not the indicative mood or the subjunctive, but the imperative. Use the imperative mood with the present tense, and you wouldn't say today. You would just say, hey, come for lunch. Come for lunch at lunchtime, kind of thing. And that present tense imperative would convey the idea of something that's ongoing over a long period of time. So that's my point. And I'm using that so that you can compare to the point I'm making right now. This aorist subjunctive is something that it's like a one-time event. Like Jesus is saying, if somebody, whosoever, like receives one of these, such a kind of children as this, toiutos is what you'd see in the lexicon, of such a kind as this, basically is kind of what that means. Of one of these such like children receives, let's see, δέχεται, yeah, so receives one such a child as this, epito onomati mu, upon my name, right, receives me. Now here he switches to the present indicative, δέχεται me, or δέχεται me. I mean, this is more emphatic than me, but me. So δέχεται me, or me δέχεται. Yeah, kind of does, but because it is in the indicative mood, it's it's at the moment that's happening. It's happening. That's kind of what he's saying. But now we come down here. We have present tense with the subjunctive, and so now we have the idea of, kind of like I said with the lunch example, of something that is something that might happen over a long period of time. So that's really it. The present subjunctive compared to the aorist subjunctive up here, comparing those, that would be like the lunch example. So this would be present tense, factually happening. Same with this down here, present tense, factually happening. So yeah, so going back to our English translations, let's use the ESV. So whoever might receive one child in my name, just one time, is receiving me when that happens. That's basically what he's saying. And then receiving me when that happens. And then now he's using the present subjunctive. So now he's saying, and whoever receives me over this, and it might happen because it's subjunctive, and it's a present tense, so it's a continuous sort of aspect over a period of time, over the long haul. And whoever receives me doesn't receive me, but receives my Father, basically is what he's saying. Doesn't receive me, but the one who sent me, right? So, that's kind of what I wanted to point out is, so this is, again, present tense indicative mood. So at the time when this might happen, and it's over a long period of time, because it's the present subjunctive, whoever receives me over this long sustained period, just like the person that's coming every day for lunch, receives not me, but him who sent me, right? And then here, again, this particular receive, right? Just like this one here in orange. This is the aorist subjunctive. So this is like the person that is, I'm just inviting you this one time, come today at lunchtime, for lunch. It's a one-time sort of thing, and it might happen. And if it does happen, then this is the present indicative. So Jesus is saying, and if that happens, then he's receiving me in the, when this happens, the present time when this happens. And similar here, this is present tense indicative mood, that if this over this long sustained period of time, that this also likewise, for as long as this goes on, is likewise present indicative. It's a sustained long. It's a marathon. This is a sprint sort of thing. Yeah. So this is more like a marathon with the present indicative, and particularly with the present subjunctive, because here we're making a contrast with aspect between these two. So this is like, again, like a sprint versus this is like a marathon sort of thing. That's really the difference between when we would use, so this is like a marathon when we use the subjunctive with the present tense, something that's long and sustained, ongoing, versus the aorist with the subjunctive. It's a short sprint. So it's this one-time event of somebody doing this. And when he does that, at that present time, then he's receiving Jesus. And somebody over the long marathon is receiving. So that's the thing. Subjunctive present over the long term, receiving him, receiving Jesus. Then he's receiving his Father. For as often as that is, these relative to each other, then this continuously happens. So that's the point.